Hello, hello, and welcome to Sheina Speaks from the Sacred Seat. It's Gemini season, and this is the season that I am fully launching into this YouTube channel. And so every zodiac season, you can expect a collective reading, and you can also expect some really incredible content to start flooding this space. I have been working in the background on some incredible interviews and a series called Dream Diary. So I can't wait to share all of that with you, but let's kick this off with our first reading in Gemini season. I am a Gemini sun, and so it just feels so aligned and so perfect that this is the time that I'm doing this, and this is when it's all coming together. So welcome. Thank you for being here. We're going to do a collective reading today, and I'm going to share with you what you can expect through the season of Gemini. I'm going to share with you maybe some shadow aspects of what might be coming up for the collective. And I'll share some medicine, some practices, and some magic to help you move through any discomfort that is presented in today's reading. And so I'm working with a few different decks today. I am working with the High Vibe Oracle deck, which is a deck that I created. Love my deck. So excited to share this with you. I'm also working with the Moonology Manifestation Oracle deck today. I have my Divine Masters Oracle out, as well as the Muse Tarot deck. So these are some of my favorite decks, and they are what called to me today for this reading. And so I just want to invite you to drop in with me, to allow yourself to receive whatever it is that hits your heart throughout this reading, and then to just chuck the rest of it in the fuck it bucket, which means if it doesn't land for you, that's okay. No problem. Move aside. Take what does land for you and bring your awareness and attention to those specific pieces of information, of insight, and of this transmission to help you move through Gemini season. So Gemini season takes us right through to June 20th. And so if you're watching this at any time throughout Gemini season, you can either look forward to see what's to come, or you might even be watching this a little bit later in the season so you can kind of reflect back and see if any of this energy showed up for you in your life. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to get myself set up here with each of these decks. I'm going to call in all of our guides, gods, goddesses, divine white light, collective energy, ancestors, angels, and elements to come forward to help hold the space for us, to help provide insight, make it easy for me to receive and deliver, and easy for you to receive and integrate. The first card I'm going to pull is from the Divine Masters Oracle. I love this deck. It was recently gifted to me by Annie Dalter, an incredible witch in the South that travels the world. And it was just such a beautiful gift and offering that came in a package I received from her. And I love this deck because it really, what it says to me is I'm here to hold this space and circle for you. And so we're going to pull one card from this deck. And this is the Divine Master that is with us throughout Gemini season, meaning you can lean on this. You can connect with it. You can call on this Divine Master. You can allow this Divine Master to inform, influence, and help you move through this season ahead. If you're watching this later in the season, then perhaps you can do a little reflection and see how this specific Divine Master has come through for you. So we're just going to get one card from the Divine Masters deck. You. Ooh, love that card for us. We got Rumi, Mystical Knowing, Breaking Boundaries, Personal Experience of God. So I'll just share that card with you. Rumi is here for us for Gemini season to be able to connect with, to attune to call on for insight, inspiration. And his message really is about that mystical part of ourselves that we are likely coming to know, or maybe we have a deep integrated connection with that spiritual part of ourselves. And just know that moving through Gemini season, you're not only going to get the invitation to break your own boundaries in order to access that part of yourself, but there's a real opportunity here for us to experience God, for us to experience divinity, for us to experience source for what it is, which is the birthplace of everything. It's the totality of what we are a part of. And what this card is saying to me is not only am I here to support, guide, insight, share this Gemini season with you, but I'm here to let you know that there is a great possibility for the collective to connect with something deeper, a deeper part of themselves, and maybe even have some mystical experiences or some divine intervention type of situation. So we'll see how that informs the rest of the reading. I'm now going to be pulling from the Moonology manifestation card. And I want to let you know that as I was setting up for this reading, there was this buzzy energy, and that's so Gemini. As an air sign, Gemini is very much connected to the mind and the nervous system, and it can get a little bit like jittery and excited. And I was feeling some of that energy. And yes, some of it was mine, but some of it is actually also coming through from the collective. And what that says to me is that as a whole, we're like all on the edge of our seats right now. And throughout the Gemini season, we're going to probably come up against this piece of mindset and nervous system and finding new ways to break through and overcome any blocks or holds that are preventing us from stepping into that like full excitement and expression in a way that actually comes across. So we're going to pull from, that one wanted to be seen. We're going to pull from the Moonology manifestation cards. I'm going to pull a couple of cards, and these cards are letting us know what we can expect in terms of energy over this season, this Gemini season. I just want one more card, please. Thank you. So first off, I'm going to let you know that we've got 2 full moons coming forward. We've got the full moon in Pisces. The energy here is forgiveness. We've also got the full moon in Aquarius, which says, be real, be real. Okay, so one of the beautiful things about these 2 cards is that first of all, they're both full moons. So let's start there. What does that mean in terms of the energy for the season ahead? Well, it means that things are going to be brought to light. A full moon is a culmination. A full moon is enlightenment. A full moon is an opportunity for us to celebrate. But so often we get stuck in suffering from our situation rather than celebrating it. And this is often because the beginning of the cycle gives us an opportunity to manifest, to ground in, and to build momentum. And by the time we get to the full moon, everything is illuminated. Nothing is left in the dark. And so however we traverse that new moon and that first quarter moon energy really does inform the full moon in terms of its enlightenment, in terms of its invitation to celebrate. One of the things that I love to share about full moon energy is that it is a time to celebrate, even if we're celebrating lessons learned. And so this energy is about culmination. This energy is about things coming to a peak, coming to a point. And truthfully, it's a beautiful energy if you're in an embodied, integrated space. It gets really hectic and chaotic and uncomfortable if you're not able to connect with your truth, if you're not able to connect with your body. That's when things start to kind of bring us to that energy of like, it's the full moon's fault. Like, it's not the full moon's fault. The full moon is just illuminating what's real, what's true, and what's fully alive right now in your reality. So like I said, we've got Pisces and Aquarius, and that's really cool because these are 2 signs that hang out really close on the zodiac. And so this is informing me that this culmination, this enlightenment, this opportunity to celebrate is going to bring us closer to what it is that we are desiring. And so when we look at these 2 cards, they're really simple. The full moon in Pisces is about forgiveness. And so there may be some time over the next couple of weeks, or like I said, if you're reflecting, you can look back where you were invited into forgiveness. You were invited into allowing yourself to reclaim a bit of yourself through forgiveness. So this could be self-forgiveness. This could be forgiving another. And I do want to stress the point that forgiveness is never for the other person. So if we're talking about a relationship dynamic, forgiveness is never for the other person. Forgiveness is for us. And so you might get an opportunity in Gemini season to actually look at a reality in your life and start to shift closer to coming from forgiveness rather than coming from pain or coming from discomfort or coming from like this revenge type of energy. Forgiveness is for you. And so I think there's going to be an opportunity for many of us to start leaning more closely towards what it means to come from a place of forgiveness. Now, we also have the full moon in Aquarius, which is about being real. And the energy of Aquarius is really this like radicalized, like loner type of energy, but it's like the rebel without a cause, right? So Aquarius is also ruled by Uranus, which is like this like raw insight and shifts and changes. And it's very deeply connected to things like AI. Again, the nervous system and the mind being an air sign. I'm going to revert back to this other card, Pisces, for just a moment here and just talk about the symbolism behind Pisces. Pisces energy is very dreamy. It's very spiritual, but it also can be a little bit spacey, a little bit disconnected. There's a lot of disillusionment when it comes to embodying and integrating Pisces energy and Pisces archetypes. And so right now I'm seeing, the spiritual archetype moving through the collective, but coming up against this need to forgive, this need to forgive self, this need to forgive others, this need to forgive situations in order for us to be able to feel into what's actually possible and what is available for us to celebrate. And then we have this Aquarius energy, which is radical and fast and really like grounded in change, grounded in revolution, and really just like ready to do whatever it takes despite what other people think. And so I love this energy for all of us. I love this energy for Gemini season. What it's really letting me know is that this is going to be a season of enlightenment, and that the more that we can come from an energy of forgiveness and the more that we can be real, the more that we can really speak our truth, the more that we can say what needs to be said, even if our voice is shaking, do what needs to be done, even if we're not fully feeling like it's possible in our bodies, the closer we're going to get to that celebration energy, to that culmination energy, to that energy of truly seeing what is available to us um, in this season. So let's just sit with these cards for just a moment here. I want to see if anything else wants to come through. I love having Rumi here with this mystical knowing as like a supporter for the season. And then having both Pisces and Aquarius kind of rounding out what energy we have. I love how they all work together. Because there is this sense in Pisces and even in Aquarius, and especially in the full moon, of enlightenment. And Rumi came to let us know that there is personal experience of God, of source, of spirit, of divine that is being presented to us throughout Gemini season. And the energy really does support that as well. And so I'm so glad that he came through to be able to support us on this journey of becoming through forgiveness and becoming through being real, being honest, and being radical. Sometimes it's the being real, it's the being honest, it's the being radical that actually helps us to move into forgiveness. And so take what pieces of that align for you. Again, if you're reflecting, if you're watching this later on in Gemini season, then just reflect a little bit and see how those energies have been presenting themselves in your life. Okay, so now I'm going to pull from the Muse Tarot deck. And I wasn't sure if I was going to pull from this deck today, but something told me that we need to shine a little light on some shadow aspects that might be coming up for the collective throughout this season. And I feel like this tarot deck really has a beautiful way of illustrating the shadow. And so I wanted to pull from it for that. And so what I mean by the shadow aspect is like it's the unseen part of what's taking place. It's like what's taking place underneath. And we already know that there's not going to be a whole lot left in the unseen. We already know that things are going to be illuminated, things are going to be coming to climax, and that we are being gifted an opportunity of enlightenment. Okay. And so we already know that that's going to take place. However, there's going to be some shadow aspects. This is a reading for the collective. And so this is a collective shadow that I think is going to be very strong throughout this season. This is a collective shadow that perhaps is going to be brought to light. And what I mean by a collective shadow is like this is something that's going to be represented in the greater mass of society and the greater population. While you may be able to personally see this showing up in your life, you'll definitely be able to see it showing up in society, in the collective, in your family, in your community. And so let's see what shadow is being illuminated this season. Ooh. All right. So, beautiful card. We have the Hanged Muse. So, this is the Hanged Man. And I want to just invite you right now into just allowing yourself to connect with this art. Just allowing yourself to connect with what is available on this card without me even saying anything. So we see her hanging upside down. We see her hanging on this thin thread, her hair flowing down. Her hair is really jumping out to me. It's this gray color. So I feel like this being or this person has a lot of experience. She may be a little bit wiser than perhaps other energies that could have come through. And then just take a look at those triangles or those pyramids at the bottom. And we see one of them right in the middle with this eye of enlightenment. And there is literally a star beam coming out. And if you take a look right underneath the eye, it looks like there's a little portal open. And I'm bringing this all to your attention because, like I said, this card is representing a collective shadow. And shadows are unseen. Shadows are a little bit more difficult to connect with. And it's really important for us when we're doing any type of shadow work or we're illuminating a shadow to allow our intuition to do some of the speaking, to move out of our mind and into our body. And so allow this card to inform your body right now. If this is representing a shadow expression of the collective, what might this mean? So, the Hanged Muse or the Hangman in a tarot deck is really sharing with us the shadow of urgency, the shadow of control. Um, as we see, she is kind of in the balance and she's chosen a timeline. See that thin line that she's hanging from? This is the timeline that she's chosen to walk. This is the path that she's decided to tether herself to. And you can see from this picture that she's really in a space of surrender. She's really in a space of allowing this timeline to be the one. And she's at a pause. She's allowing herself to take pause here so that she can start to more deeply attune with where this thread is weaving and where this path is taking her. And it's through this pause, it's through this disconnection from urgency or from control that she starts to begin to experience some enlightenment. And that she starts to be welcomed into a deeper, more resonant experience. But this only happens because she chooses a timeline. She makes a decision. She finds where on that timeline she can rest and she can take pause. This is the only way to disconnect from the urgency and from the need for control is if you can make a decision and you can pause long enough to recognize the beauty in it, to recognize what is available in that space. And so see how this is showing up for you already or how it may have shown up for you. Or just know that throughout this season, you are likely going to feel this energy of urgency, this energy of needing to be in control, needing to fully understand where the path is going or what it is that you're tethered to. But the beautiful part of all of this, and really the invitation, is to make a decision, to connect yourself to that decision, and then to take a pause and to take rest and to take an inventory, perhaps, of how it is that you got here why it is that you chose this space, and what it has available for you. So again, the shadow is going to be urgency, a need for control. And so if you feel those energies kind of creeping up throughout Gemini season, know that this is an invitation to pause and perhaps maybe look into being honest, look into leaning towards forgiveness, and allow yourself permission to experience something in a more mystical and divine way. Okay. So that's beautiful. I also love, so one of the things, and being an oracle deck creator myself, that it's really rooted in art and symbolism and colors. I love when cards kind of come up and they kind of match each other when we're doing a reading. And so just bringing up the fact that these two cards really, they do complement each other in terms of aesthetic, in terms of like a color palette. And so while this is the shadow expression that we're going to experience in this season, we know that we have this opportunity to be fully supported to experience it in a way that actually enlightens us, that actually gives us divine guidance and divine insight. um, I'm also really feeling called, just based on these cards, the fact that we have 2 full moons, which is a very, like, embodied experience. It's, like, a lot of energy, the Hanged Muse and Rumi. I feel that one of the things that's going to come through this season for the collective is this opportunity to experience life from a more divine. And so I feel like mystical experiences are going to be on offer for us in Gemini season. And that can mean something different for everyone. But it's really this experience where you get a glimpse into the fact that miracles are real and miraculous things can actually happen. And those experiences are what roots us deeper into faith, roots us deeper into belief. And when we are rooted more deeply into faith and believing that anything is possible, then we get more aligned with our purpose, and our purpose is more attainable. And so I really just want to put that up on offer that, like, there is going to be an opportunity in Gemini season for you to experience life from a more mystical vantage point. And this might not be an easy place to get to. It might not be an easy experience to move through. It could be fucking beautiful and it could feel incredible. Um, but either way, know that that experience is leading you to a more deeply integrated connection with divine, with spirit, with your guides, gods, goddesses, divine white light, and collective energy. And so just to, like, give yourself a little bit of permission to just rest and to just pause and to truly experience what's taking place, and allow yourself to believe in the miraculous. Allow yourself to believe that anything is possible. Kind of what's coming through for me right now is there's going to be, for some of you, for many of you, there's going to be kind of a turning point that takes place during Gemini season. And there's a lot of wicked, awesome astrology that supports this as well, that's taking place over the next month or so. And so, really allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to believe that anything is possible within any situation you find yourself in. Believe that being authentic and being real and speaking your truth, and believe that moving from a place of forgiveness is actually connecting you more deeply with a miracle. And when you're in an experience, if you're deeply in an experience, and whether it feels like extremely wonderful and beautiful, or whether it feels a little bit more difficult, know that that experience is helping you to connect more deeply with the mystical part of your side, the mystical side of yourself, the part of you that is deeply mystical. I feel like there's going to be some really cool experiences that take place in Gemini season throughout the collective, and I would love to hear about them. So if you want to drop me a comment and let me know, that would be amazing. You can also connect with me in any of the other spaces where we are connected. Lastly, I'm going to pull from the High Vibe Oracle deck, and this is the medicine and the magic that we can attune to, that we can integrate with, that we can practice with in order to make all of this a little bit easier. And so I feel like 3 cards are really going to serve the purpose for this season. So if I could get 3 cards, please. That's 1. Beautiful. Ooh, that's very aligned with the Hanged Muse. Can I get 2 more cards, please? Magic and medicine for Gemini season for the collective. Hey, thank you. This one and this. Oof, oof, oof. Yes. Yes. Things are coming to a peak this season, my friends. Things are coming to a peak this season. And your guides are here for it. So let's take a look at these 3 cards. The first card that came out is the Polarity card. And so here is that card. It's the Polarity card. Again, just taking in the images, the colors, the symbolism, whatever it is that's jumping out to you. This card says polarity, this and that, up and down, left and right, in relies on out. Flip it. And because this is a white card in the High Vibe Oracle deck, it means that it's prompting action. And so the medicine and the magic of this card is action being taken. And the action here is to flip perspective. And I love that because it really is in alignment with this hanged muse energy, which is flipping the perspective. She's literally flipped her body upside down and taken pause so that she can take in her surroundings and really see where the portal is and where the enlightenment is coming from. And so the medicine and magic here with this polarity card is just that. It's this invitation to flip your perspective, this invitation to, turn things inside out, to flip them upside down, to look at them from a new vantage point. One of the most beautiful parts of this card and of just life in general is that nothing can exist without its opposite. And so if you're, experiencing pain and anguish and heartache, you cannot experience that if love and pleasure and connection didn't exist. Okay, so pleasure and pain, they exist on the same spectrum. They're at either ends. And so pain doesn't get to exist without pleasure, meaning that you can take a situation that you're in that maybe feels a little bit more painful than pleasurable, and you have the opportunity to really look at that spectrum and to see if you can find a different place on that line to hang. There is no good without bad. There is no wrong without right. And so we always have this opportunity to kind of step back or to hang ourselves up and to look at our current situation with a different vantage point, with the belief that anything is possible and that if we are experiencing something more difficult, that means that something easy is also available too. And so the action here, the medicine, the magic, the action that this white card is prompting is to flip it, is to look at what it is that you're experiencing. And if it's uncomfortable, if it's painful, if it's stressful, if it's overwhelming, notice what's on the other end of that spectrum and see if you can even just move just a little bit away from the discomfort and closer to something that's a little bit more comfortable. The message here is that you can. Okay, so we have 2 more cards, and both of the other cards are black cards. So one of the things about the High Vibe Oracle deck, and I'll just give you a quick peek, is that there's 3 different kinds of cards. There's white cards, there's black cards, and there's colored cards. And each one of them are prompting something different. Like I said, this white card is prompting action. And so these 2 black cards are prompting reflection. And we're going to dive into those a little bit deeper in just a moment here. But I really want you to understand that the energy behind the black card, the medicine and the magic behind the black card really comes from a place of reflection, a place of refinement. This is more of like a feminine energy where you connect more deeply with like the body and your intuition, and you allow that to inform you, as opposed to a white card prompting action, which is like this more masculine energy of like doing something. You're being asked to do something. And here you're being asked to be something. And then when we get colored cards, they're prompting awareness. So we'll see those come up in future readings, I'm sure of it. So let's dive into these other two cards. I'm going to start with the Climax card. This is the Climax card. Again, it's prompting reflection. And so if this is going to be medicine or magic for you this season, what might this mean? What might this mean for you? Again, taking a look at the colors, at the symbolism there. This card says Climax. Built up pressure will always release. What is about to burst? And then in the graphic, it says boom, tick, tick, boom. And so just noticing there is a little clock here being symbolized. Obviously, we have like a volcano erupting. We have like some lips up here. And there's kind of this contrast between like full fucking explosion and just like this upper portion, which just feels like just a little bit more like soft, a little bit more refined. And so this card is prompting reflection for us this season. And the question is, what is about to burst? And I think it's really important for us to get more deeply connected with the parts of ourselves that feel like they're under pressure, the parts of ourselves that maybe feel like they're in a pressure cooker. Chances are that those parts of yourself have been ignored for quite some time. And, the energy here is about forgiveness and it's about being real. And so that might mean that pressure is rising to the surface, ready to come out, ready to reshape your environment. Because that's what a volcano does, right? It erupts and then it reshapes the landscape. It reshapes the reality. And so you really have an opportunity here with these cards, right? If this is a question, a reflection that you're being asked to do, then chances are something is going to come to light. There is going to be an illumination. And so taking these two cards into consideration, this action of flipping it, and knowing that the shadow side is going to be urgency or control, then we can take this medicine and we can start to integrate it right now. We can start moving into reflection. And so one of the most beautiful ways to reflect and to work with the black cards in the High Vibe Oracle deck is to just land. Maybe you do that with a breath. And you just set an energetic intention to receive. And then you ask yourself the question that is posed on the black card. And pretty much every black card has a question. It's prompting reflection, right? So there's always a question available for you to start with. And this question is, what is about to burst? And so what you might do is just ask yourself that question right now. What inside of me is about to burst? Where is the pressure building? Can you locate it in your body? Maybe you can't even name it, but you can locate it in your body. Maybe it feels like a rising up through your core, or maybe it feels like a pressure kind of coming through the back, just like pushing you forward. However it shows up for you is going to be unique, but this is the very best way to reflect and to really lean deeply into this medicine, is to connect with that part of yourself. And so, I feel a lot rising in me. And, a lot of people look at this card and they're like, yeah, it's crazy. It could be like completely transformative. But pressure isn't always bad. And so pressure needs to build up for us to experience deep and profound amounts of pleasure. And so I feel this like rising in me, and it feels juicy, and it feels like the pressure that's building is like I feel it feels good. It feels exciting, maybe a little bit scary. And it's definitely in my core, and I can just feel it kind of rising up. And when I really connect with it, I can feel it. coming right into my throat. And so I know that this eruption is, for me, what's building up is an outpouring of communication. And that is alive and well in my life right now. So where does that show up for you? Can you name it in your body? Can you locate it? Can you tell if it feels like it's moving fast or if it's moving slow? And just really start to reflect on any sensations that are coming up when you ask yourself that question. So I have one more black card, and I love this card for this reading. It's perfect. This is the guides card. Again, take a look at the card, see what jumps out to you, see if there's any symbols or colors or words that are kind of popping off. Because whatever hits you is meant for you. This is why I say if it doesn't land, chuck it in the fuck it bucket, but pay attention to what does. This is a collective reading. And so this energy is for everyone, and not every piece will be for everyone. I love this card. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck, and you might hear me say that a lot as time goes on, but this truly, truly is. This is the guides card. Again, a black card prompting reflection, and the card says, signs are everywhere. Synchronicities, confirmation. Are you noticing? And then within the artwork of the card itself, it says, everything is a sign when you're looking. This is your sign. Take another quick look at that. Again, these three cards are representing the medicine and magic that we can integrate and embody to help bring a little bit more ease to whatever is taking place this season. We know that it's going to be illuminating. We know that it's going to be climactic. We know that there's going to be an opportunity to connect more deeply with spirit, with the divine, with the mystical parts of ourselves. And these three cards are letting us know how we can best traverse that energy with as much ease as possible. So we know that we need to flip it. We know that we need to give ourselves permission to look at things in a new way and move a little bit further away from what we don't want and closer to what we do. We know that it's a really good time to start reflecting on any pressure that's building. Remember at the beginning of this, I said, yeah, I felt like, there's like excitement in the air. There's like this buzz that's taking place. Allow yourself to connect with whatever buzz or pressure is building up inside of you and ask yourself some questions about it. Feel around. This is going to be great medicine for the season ahead. And then lastly, the guides card. Love this card. I feel like, again, these three cards really, this is kind of like informing these two cards. Like if you want to have the mystical experience, if you want to give yourself an opportunity to see enlightenment in a new way and to find a portal to access and to have this godly experience or this experience with source or spirit or the universe or whatever you want to call it, if you want to have this mystical experience, you've got to be on the lookout. You've got to be on the lookout. You've got to slow down just enough to be able to even notice. And so that's the reflective question here is, are you noticing? Are you noticing? Are you? Are you? Are you giving yourself time to slow down enough and to connect enough to notice? Because oftentimes the universe is communicating with us in so many beautiful ways, trying to share insights and trying to guide us. And we're just so busy that we don't even notice. And so the medicine and magic of this card is, what are you noticing? And will you give yourself permission to slow down just long enough to start seeing those signs, those synchronicities, those messages? I would love to invite you into just taking a moment right now and recall the last time you received a message from spirit or some guidance or synchronicity. Maybe you saw 111. Maybe you were talking about a situation and a song came on that perfectly transcribed and described that situation. Maybe you had a dream and you woke up with this new thought or this new way of looking at something. Those are all signs. They're all synchronicities. And if you can not only recall the last time you noticed, but you can continue to give yourself an opportunity to notice, I feel like this season is going to be a lot easier to move through. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean that the season's going to be difficult, right? It doesn't mean that this is going to be hard for everyone and that you need this medicine, but maybe you need the magic. And so think of these 3 cards as just that, the medicine and the magic that supports you moving through this energy from a more embodied, more informed, more full, whole, truthful self. Okay. Another thing that I'm just noticing is these 3 cards. We got full moon, full moon, full moon. Okay, so I feel like there's a couple things that might be referring to. One, that all of that energy of the full moon and what it means, yes, but also pointing to the full moon that's taking place in Gemini season, which is going to be a full moon in Sagittarius. Exact date, not 100% sure. It'll probably be like mid-month, probably right around my birthday. So maybe noting when the full moon in Gemini is and taking the time to schedule it in now for the magic and the medicine. With that full moon, I feel like there's going to be a powerful portal with that one, to access more enlightenment, to access more mysticism, and to see things from a new perspective. Because overall, that's really what this reading is saying to us. It's inviting you into being a more fully expressed version of yourself, and so that you can connect more deeply with the divine. And so take what lands, leave the rest. I'm really looking forward to Gemini season. I've got a lot of things going on, a lot of ways that we can connect and can continue to work together. If you're looking for a place to land, you might want to do that with me in the Moon Lounge, which is an online community that I host where we really connect with the ebb and flow of every cycle, of every moon cycle, of every initiation. And I really hold space, provide practices and rituals and reflective prompts and inspired actions to help us connect more deeply to rhythm and our cyclical nature as human beings, especially as women. And so that link will be available in the comments below. You can also join me in my Facebook group. It is the Oracle Portal for Embodied Leaders. And so there I do readings and I just kind of post some behind the scenes stuff. You can connect with me on any channel. It is my absolute pleasure to hold space and to be a channel into transmission, this energy for you. I look forward to returning for the Cancer season reading, but until then, enjoy everything else that is coming out on the channel. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for being here with me. I look forward to connecting more.